Today is February 20th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Chapter 3, more about alcoholism. We'll be reading page 40. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 5. I think we'll finish up Step 5 today by reading page 62. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. Woke up sober today. Cup of coffee in hand. Space heaters going full blast here in the garage. And I got a smile on my face this morning. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, we have been journeying through more about alcoholism here. And I love hearing about myself. And we've had a couple of demonstrations of how the disease is progressive. We had our retiree that quit for many, many years, came back to it, and his illness had progressed over that time that he had abstained from alcohol, and he was dead within 4 years. And then we heard about Jim and the kind of mental obsession that he had to put that whiskey in his milk. Then the jaywalker, and once again, it sounds absolutely crazy, but if you substitute the jaywalking for drinking, that nails me to a T. And now we're talking about this man named Fred. And one of the things we talked about yesterday is self-knowledge. For alcoholics, that's not enough. And Fred, he thinks that, he may have some of the traits that alcoholics may have, but surely he can stop on his own. He's got this. So we're on page 40. Let's find out what happened to old Fred. We heard no more of Fred for a while. One day we were told that he was back in the hospital. This time he was quite shaky. He soon indicated that he was anxious to see us. The story he told was most instructive. For here was a chap absolutely convinced that he had to stop drinking, who had no excuse for drinking, who exhibited splendid judgment and determination in all of his other concerns, yet was flat on his back nevertheless. Let him tell you about it. I was much impressed with what you fellows said about alcoholism, and I frankly did not believe that it would be possible for me to drink again. I rather appreciated your ideas about the subtle insanity which precedes the first drink. But I was confident that it could not happen to me after what I had learned. I reasoned that I was not so far advanced as most of you fellows, that I had been usually successful in licking my other personal problems, and that I would therefore be successful where you men failed. I felt I had every right to be self-confident, that it would be only a matter of exercising my willpower and keeping on guard. In this frame of mind, I went about my business, and for a time all was well. I had no trouble refusing drinks, and began to wonder if I had not been making too hard work of a simple matter. One day, I went to Washington to present some accounting evidence to a government bureau. I'd been out of town before during a particular dry spell, so there was nothing new about that. Physically, I felt fine. Neither did I have any pressing problems or worries. My business came off well, and I was pleased and knew my partners would be too. It was the end of a perfect day, not a cloud on the horizon. I went to my hotel and leisurely dressed for dinner. As I crossed the threshold of the dining room, the thought came to mind that it'd be nice to have a couple of cocktails with dinner. That was all, nothing more. I ordered a cocktail and my meal. Then I ordered another cocktail. After dinner, I decided to take a walk. When I returned to the hotel, it struck me that a highball would be fine before going to bed. So I stepped into the bar and had one. I remember having several more that night and plenty the next morning. I have a shadowy recollection of being in an airplane bound for New York and of finding a friendly taxicab driver at the landing field instead of my wife. The driver escorted me about for several days. I know little of where I went or what I said and did. Then came the hospital with unbearable mental and physical suffering. So I read an extra paragraph today, but that's okay. That's free of charge. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 5. Admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And yesterday we talked about the process of selecting the right person for our 5th step and being honest. And also we talked about how here's where willpower really does help, being willing to share everything. So here we go, we're on 62, we'll finish off the chapter. Before long, your listener may well tell a story or two about himself, which will place you even more at ease. Provided you hold back nothing, your sense of relief will mount from minute to minute. The dammed up emotions of years break out of their confinement and miraculously vanish as soon as they're exposed. As the pain subsides, a healing tranquility takes its place. And when humility and serenity are so combined, something else of great moment is apt to occur. Many in AA, once agnostic or atheistic, tells us that it was during this stage of step 5 that he first actually felt the presence of God. And even those who had faith already often become more conscious of God as they ever were before. This feeling of being at one with God and man, this emerging from isolation through the open and honest shattering of our terrible burden of guilt, brings us to a resisting place where we may prepare ourselves for the following steps toward a full and meaningful sobriety. "24 hours a day, February 20th. AA thought for the day. Liquor used to be my friend. I used to have a lot of fun drinking. Practically all the fun I had was connected with drinking. But the time came when liquor became my enemy. I don't know just when liquor turned against me and became my enemy, but I know it happened because I began to get into trouble. And since I realized that liquor is now my enemy, my main business is keeping sober. Making a living or keeping house is no longer my main business. It's secondary to the business of keeping sober. Do I realize that my main business is keeping sober? Meditation for the day. I can depend on God to supply me with all the power that I need to face any situation, provided that I will sincerely believe in that power and honestly ask for it, at the same time making all my life conform to what I believe God wants me to be. I can come to God as the business manager would come to the owner of the business, knowing that to lay the matter before him means immediate cooperation, providing the matter has merit. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may believe that God is ready and willing to supply me with all that I need. I pray that I may ask only for faith and strength to meet any situation. Daily Reflection, February 20th. The gift of laughter. At this juncture, his AA sponsor usually laughs. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 26. Before my recovery from alcoholism began, laughter was one of the most painful sounds I knew. I never laughed, and I felt that anyone else's laughter was directed at me. My self-pity and anger denied me the simplest of pleasures or lightness of heart. By the end of my drinking, not even alcohol could provoke a drunken giggle in me. When my AA sponsor began to laugh and point out my self-pity and ego-feeding deceptions, I was annoyed and hurt. But it taught me to lighten up and focus on my recovery. I soon learned to laugh at myself. And eventually, I taught those that I sponsored to laugh also. Every day, I ask God to help me stop taking myself too seriously. All right, my friend, that concludes today's reading. And man, some great stuff. Talking about Fred, I can relate to Fred. I guess I would be considered what you call a high-bottom drunk. I didn't lose the wife, the kids, the house. I didn't serve jail time. I didn't do all these things. However, I know after a couple 24 hours of being in the rooms, I know if I go back out there with the progressive illness that More About Alcoholism talks about, all those things are in my future. And that kind of ties into the daily reflection as well, that, I have to put my sobriety first, because I will lose all the things that are so near and dear to me if I don't. But this program, this spiritual program, has got me closer to my higher power. And my higher power has helped me to become a better man, a better husband, a better father. So this investment in my sobriety is actually a selfless act in a lot of ways. I know they say it's a selfish program, and I get that. But we're also giving a great gift to those around us by trying to be sober. Not dry, but sober. And then I love in the 12 and 12, once again, it talks about holding nothing back. I underline that because I know I'd seen that before earlier in the chapter. Holding back nothing. And that was me. I certainly had to hold back. I couldn't hold back anything. Because all of a sudden, that little marble would start twirling around my brain. And it was like a snowball effect. It'd start getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it dominated all my thoughts. And it can still do that if I'm not fully honest with my sponsor or a trusted friend. And then finally, laughing at ourselves. Oh my gosh, I'll never forget one of the first times I went to the meeting. One of the meetings, people are now, I'm a shy person. I think I've already shared that. I'm pretty shy. And I didn't know what to expect from going to these meetings. And all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm hearing these people share some of the craziest, vulnerable and personal stories. I'm like, holy cow. And they're laughing and smiling, and everybody else is laughing and nodding their heads and smiling and everything. And I remember looking around like, geez Louise, where am I? But then I finally got it. They can laugh about it now because they're on the other side of it. I'm on the other side of it, and I realize how ridiculous some of the things I did were, and how I thought I was fooling so many people, and I really wasn't. The only person I was fooling was myself. That's that insanity that More About Alcoholism was talking about, believing our own lie, right? And it's fun to kind of laugh at myself, because then I realized, well, yep, I'm human. I'm no better or worse than anybody else. I'm perfectly human. But my friends, that's all we have time for today. I hope you have a great one, and I hope that you know that if you're sober, you're a miracle. And you are giving that great gift to everybody around you. And you have a unique gift to help the next suffering alcoholic or anybody else today. And if you're not sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well. That your story's not done yet and you are worthy of recovery. I just pray that you would get the help that you need today. And you don't have to do it alone. There are so many resources out there. I definitely recommend finding a local group, finding a sponsor. The Everything AA app is wonderful. There are so many online resources out there, so many podcasts out there that have great speakers on them. I love Sobercast and a few others. I found one on Sobercast where Ebby Thatcher talked back in the 60s, I believe it was. So that was fascinating, hearing his side of the story and how he met Bill and everything. So, I mean, there's some really cool stuff out there nowadays. So I pray that you get the help that you need today. And that you realize that you are worthy of recovery again. But as always, my friends, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I am just a drunk, just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery. Really honored to be here today. But with that, my friends, if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.